but she refused everything and kept acting like I was invisible. Then she got worse. She would go into our bedroom when I wasn't home and rearrange everything. She moved my clothes into the guest room closet and said it was to give Phil some breathing space. I walked into the room once to find her folding his shirts and placing them neatly into piles.
This is how a real woman takes care of her husband. Camille would have done better than you.
She kept doing things like that, comparing me with the Camille lady, cleaning up only after Phil, leaving my things untouched or tossed aside like garbage. She even replaced my toothbrush with an old used one she brought from her purse. When I confronted her, she laughed.
Well, if you don't like how I do things, you can always leave. This house is still Phil's, not yours.
She always made it clear that I didn't belong. Phil was the kind of man I never expected to fall for. He was kind, thoughtful, and quiet. We met at a bookstore downtown. I had reached for a novel just as he did, and we both ended up laughing like it was some rom-com cliché. From there, we became friends. Our energy matched so well. What started with coffee became weekend walks, deep conversations, and the kind of steady love I'd always dreamed of. He made everything feel easy. With Phil, there was no drama, no guessing, just a comforting rhythm to the way he cared. We dated for 2 years, and one Sunday evening, under the orange light in my apartment balcony, he knelt down, ring in hand, eyes a little nervous, and asked me to marry him. Of course I said yes. I thought the world was on my side, seeing how everything was going smoothly between us. I should have known things wouldn't stay that simple. It wasn't until a week after the engagement that he brought up his mother.
I want you to meet her. She can be quite intense sometimes, but I'm sure she'll like you, so you'll be able to cope with her drama.
We'd both laughed. I had no reason to be worried. I'd always been respectful and kind. I didn't expect to be best friends with her, but I hoped we could at least get along. We drove to her house. She lived alone since she and Phil's father were divorced and she had no other children. When the door opened, I was met with sharp eyes and a cold stare. She looked me up and down like I was dirty. Phil introduced us to each other.
So, this is Cynthia.
No smile, no warmth. Just my name like it left a bad taste in her mouth. Still, I smiled and reached out. It's really nice to meet you, ma'am. She didn't take my hand. She just turned and walked back inside. I was worried because that wasn't how I imagined our first intro to go. Phil took me by the hand and led me inside, telling me to not worry about her behavior. When we got inside, I couldn't deny how beautiful the interior looked. I tried to be polite by complimenting the decor and asking about her garden, but she barely responded. She offered us tea, and we sat in silence for a bit. And then, out of nowhere,
I thought you were smarter than this, Phil. After all the girls I introduced you to, this is the one you pick?
my heart dropped. How could she say such a thing? And in front of me.
Mom, I didn't ask you to pick anyone for me, and you're being disrespectful to Cynthia.
What about Camille? You know her, my best friend's daughter. Beautiful, raised right, educated. The two of you would have made sense, not this person here.
She waved her hand in my direction like I was something stuck to her shoe. I couldn't believe it. I felt sad and pained, but I stayed calm. I didn't come here to compete with anyone, ma'am. I came because I love your son.
Oh, please. Don't flatter yourself. Love isn't enough. Not when you're not good enough.
Phil instantly stood up. He looked so furious.
That's enough, Mom. You don't get to insult her like that.
Then take her and leave my house. If you think I'll sit and watch you throw your future away, you're wrong.
She pointed to the door, just like that. Phil didn't hesitate. He took my hand and we left, my ears burning and my heart pounding.
I'm sorry, babe. I promise. I had no idea she'd be like that.
Neither did I. I thought the hard part was over, that being in love was enough. Unfortunately, it wasn't. We got married anyway. Phil and I pushed through with the wedding, even though his mother refused to come. It hurt. I had hoped that maybe, deep down, she'd change her mind. That she'd show up at the last moment, wearing a smile, and try to make peace. But she didn't. Instead, she spent the week before the wedding calling her relatives and Phil's friends. She told them I had stolen her son from her, that I had brainwashed him and made him not invite her, She twisted the story so well that some people actually believed her. They didn't know she had kicked me out of her house and told me never to come back. Phil tried to defend me, but the damage had already been done. I was heartbroken. I didn't know what I had done to make her hate me so much. I had been polite when I met her. I never raised my voice, never talked back. I just wanted to be part of her family as her son also wanted, but she wouldn't let me. Still, I focused on our new life. We moved into a small, cozy house. It wasn't fancy, but it was full of love. And for 3 months, everything was peaceful. Then one evening, there was a knock on the door. Phil opened it, and standing there was his mother with 2 large suitcases. Both Phil and I were so confused.
Mom, what are you doing here?
What do you mean, what am I doing here? Am I not allowed to visit my own son's house? Has she managed to convince you to not let me in here too?
Her tone was sharp and defensive. Phil tried to explain that we hadn't expected her, that she should have called first. But before he could say much, she suddenly burst into loud tears.
So this is it? I raised you, and now I'm not welcome in your life? Did I ever mistreat you? How did you let this evil woman change you so much?
Her voice echoed down the street. Neighbors peeked out their windows. Phil looked at me, and I'd never saw him look so helpless. I didn't know what to say. We couldn't just leave her outside. He sighed and stepped aside, letting her in. That was the beginning of hell for me. She walked in like she owned the house and dropped her bags in the hallway. She didn't regard me when I greeted her. She acted like it was only her and Phil in the house. From the very first morning, I knew Janice wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. She woke up before sunrise and started banging pots and pans in the kitchen like it was a factory. Phil and I had always kept things quiet in the mornings, but that peace disappeared the moment she arrived. By the time I got out of bed, she was already cooking breakfast just for Phil. She didn't make anything for me. When I walked in, she didn't even look at me.
Oh, you're finally awake. I wasn't sure if lazy wives sleep in every day.
I ignored her and poured myself a cup of tea. But even the way I stirred it seemed to annoy her. She rolled her eyes at every little thing I did. At first, I tried to be nice. I offered to take her shopping. I invited her to sit and talk with me. But she refused everything and kept acting like I was invisible. Then she got worse. She would go into our bedroom when I wasn't home and rearrange everything. She moved my clothes into the guest room closet and said it was to give Phil some breathing space. I walked into the room once to find her folding his shirts and placing them neatly into piles.
This is how a real woman takes care of her husband. Camille would have done better than you.
She kept doing things like that, comparing me with the Camille lady, cleaning up only after Phil, leaving my things untouched or tossed aside like garbage. She even replaced my toothbrush with an old used one she brought from her purse. When I confronted her, she laughed.
Well, if you don't like how I do things, you can always leave. This house is still Phil's, not yours.
She always made it clear that I didn't belong. Phil tried to mediate, but she always played the victim. She'd cry in front of him, acting like I was the one picking on her.
She doesn't want me here, Phil. I came to be close to my son and she's trying to push me out. I told you she's evil.
He believed me, but he didn't want to fight with his mother. So he kept asking me to be patient, to understand, and to give it time. But time only made things worse. She started insulting me openly. If I cooked, she'd spit it out and throw the rest in the trash.
You expect my son to eat this? No wonder he's losing weight.
She told the neighbors I was lazy and disrespectful. She even lied to Phil's aunt and said I once raised my hand to hit her. That nearly caused a family scandal. She controlled the remote, changed our house decor to ugly brown curtains and floral cushions, and constantly reminded me that she was doing me a favor by teaching me how to be a real wife. She would sneak into the laundry and wash only Phil's clothes, leaving mine in the basket. Sometimes she'd even take mine out and drop them on the floor. One day I came home and saw her sitting on our bed, wearing my perfume, smiling like a queen.
Phil must have told you to buy this perfume. It's what Camille wears. He must miss her so much. You wouldn't understand that kind of bond because you forced him to marry you.
I wanted to scream, but I held it in. I cried in the shower more times than I could count. One Saturday afternoon, I was laughing at a video on my phone while sitting in the living room. Phil was home, reading the newspaper beside me. Suddenly, Janice walked in, her face full of anger. Before I could react, she slapped me across the face. Phil jumped to his feet.
What is wrong with you, Mom? You hit my wife?
Janice stepped back, looking shocked that Phil was yelling at her.
She was laughing like a madwoman and bothering my ears.
Shut up, Mom. You've crossed the line too many times. You know what? I want you out of my house. I'll be gone for work tomorrow morning. And when I return in the evening, you better be gone. Don't ever come back here again. Don't ever call me again.
No, Phil, you can't do this to me. I'm your mother. Phil, listen to me. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Don't walk out on me, Phil.
She seemed to understand how serious he was when he slammed the living room door shut. Janice seemed so scared.
Please, Cynthia, help me. He's so angry. I can't lose my son. I don't want to be alone. I'm sorry, okay? Please, talk to him.
I knelt beside her, put my arm around her shoulder, and pretended to care. It's okay, Mother. Let me make you some tea. You'll feel better. I went into the kitchen, boiled some water, and made her favorite lemon tea. But I added 3 drops of a strong diarrhea drug I'd kept hidden in the back of the cupboard. I bought it a few days back to use to teach her a lesson, and that was the perfect time. She drank every drop while wiping her tears. Once she was done, I stopped pretending to care. Like my husband said, tomorrow, pack your bags and never come back. You've ruined enough. She looked so shocked I was scared her eyes would fall out. I was satisfied. That night was pure chaos. Janice kept rushing to the bathroom over and over. I counted 11 trips. She moaned and cried the whole time, but I just lay in bed, enjoying the silence between me and Phil. By morning, she looked pale and weak. Her eyes were sunken, her hands shaky, but we didn't care. Phil called a cab, placed her luggage outside, and shut the door behind her. That wasn't the end, though. Halfway through her ride, she pooped on herself. The cab driver was so angry, he pushed her out of the car. She had no phone, no wallet. She thought she had forgotten them, but she didn't forget. I took them. She had to walk all the way home in a stained dress, while we enjoyed our breakfast in peace. Finally, my house was my home again. After that, we filed a restraining order. She still calls sometimes, but Phil never answers. We heard she's lost a significant amount of weight, is depressed, and now lives alone with 4 cats. If you don't want to end up like Janice or worse, subscribe to the channel.